Hi guys, you're welcome to Mig Non-Sports Review, and we are here to talk about the Nigeria-Algeria match. Before we proceed, please, if you like what we do, kindly remember to subscribe, like, and share so we can come back to you with vital content like this. So, let's dive straight into the match. Nigeria has actually beaten Algeria. Nigeria dominated with a 68% domination. It was just like Algeria, no, we are not really in that match. But trust me, a lot is to be said from what happened. Now, let's touch base on the Nigerian side first, because there are some special call-outs I'm going to be calling out right now and right here. First of all, I'm going to call out on Eric Schell, the manager and team coach. Eric Schell has really gotten a spark going in this team, I must say, because, in my last video, I actually commented that, or I stated that if Eric Schell actually plays the same formation he used with Mozambique, he's going to make some very, very wonderful positive impacts in the Algeria match. And he did that, playing 4-3-3 formation and actually, creating that false defense. When I mean by false defense, he had a midfield line, Ndidi, Iwobi, and Frank Onyeka. But choking that midfield created a false defense so that while Algerian attackers are coming, they meet a false defense before the real defense. And that actually made a very, very huge impact in this game. Lovely game tactics by Eric Sekoshel. Now, I'm going to call out on a player. Iwobi was very fantastic. Iwobi has actually perfected the art in sending those connecting passes. In a snap of a finger, he knows who is connecting, he knows who is telegraphing, he knows who is passing to. So wonderful and excellent play by Iwobi. And Iwobi has also developed the culture of, tracking back and attacking, or once he, loses the ball, he tries to, attack and get back that ball. A very nice gameplay by Iwobi. Also, I'm going to call on another excellent player, Osimhen. Osimhen was wonderful. First of all, giving us that final goal that we had waited. It felt like a goal drop in the very first half where a lot of chances were missed. But in the second half, he got it finally with a wonderful cross from Bruno Yemachi. Now Osimhen leaping so high and headed that ball in such a way that Lucas Zidane was beaten. This is the same Lucas Zidane that they've been clamoring that happened to be the best keeper in the tournament because he hasn't lost or conceded any goal. Even the one goal conceded by Algeria was not conceded when he was keeping because he was not the one, in between the goalposts. But I mean, it's very clear that before you confirm or say that a particular team has the best defense or the best goalkeeper, you need to be sure that that team has actually played an attacking-minded team, such as Nigeria. Another call-out, I'm going to call in out on Akko Adams. Akko Adams actually, played a very good one. Though he had some losses here and there in terms of goals, he missed some goals in the first half, which he was supposed to have buried, maybe plunging us to maybe a 4 or 5 goal victory. But yeah, he finally came through in the second half with still that wonderful assist from Victor Osimhen. Victor Osimhen has outclassed himself, being a very, very prolific striker. He also is a very, very wonderful team player. A lot of strikers would have gone on that one-on-one duel because they're going to score. He could actually have scored the goal, but he decided to make it very clean. He doesn't want any mistake. He had to pass it to the most ideal person, which was Akko Adams. And Akko Adams, made a flicked it to the left, beating Lucas Zidane and just tapping the ball into the net. Very, very skillful, very, very experienced, very, very wonderful goal from Akko Adams. In fact, Nigeria has actually played like they have that cohesion. There's this sort of cohesion that exists between the players that it feels like the players have been playing in the same club. You won't believe that these are players that just came together and trained together and decided to put their foot forward into the AFCON. Very wonderful play by Akko Adams. I also call on Lookman. Lookman has been a very strong bottleneck in the Algerian defense. It just feels like whenever Lookman is there, he's a handful because he flips left, right, dazzles left, right, and he moves. And he still beats you and goes with the ball. So Lookman has been very wonderful with his flicks, with his assists, and his duel winning. In fact, Lookman also happen to be someone that also chases the ball if he loses the ball. Excellent gameplay by Lookman. I also call on Calvin Bassey. Calvin Bassey commandeering the back line has been excellent. Because if you have a center back that does not commandeer or coordinate the back line, no matter how good your attack is, you're going to be losing goals. You're going to be conceding. But it just looks like that cohesion has been found. Calvin Bassey working closely with Semi Ajayi and also working closely with Bruno Onyemachi, and also not also forgetting Osayi, Bright Osayi. Very good combination. When you pair that four lineup, you have a very good combination, in your back line. Good game from Calvin Bassey. And we not also forget Bright Osayi. Bright Osayi had been he was very tremendous in this particular match. Every duel at his own flank was won by him. The way he stylishly and with so much experience tap out the ball from the player's leg without any infringement is what is, a very, very big feat to be achieved. He really achieved that feat. In almost all the duels he had, he made sure he took out the ball from the Algerian player and there was no infringement. It was either a corner or a throw-in or a goal kick. Very excellent defense moves from Bright Osayi. Keep it up. Very excellent. Wonderful gameplay. Overall, it's a wonderful gameplay by Nigeria. I must say, this is the best performance in this particular AFCON 2025. Despite the fact that we didn't score so much, we scored 2, but I would rate this game higher than the game where we scored the 4 goals against Mozambique. Excellent gameplay by Super Eagles, and we expect to see more of this or this kind of gameplay when we face Morocco, because Morocco is not going to be an easy feat. It's just like we are playing 11 against 15. The remaining 4 men are the entire crowd. But trust me, if you eye the cup and not the crowd, you're going to play to win and not play to the gallery of the crowd. So with this, I believe Nigeria is going to soar to greater heights when they play Morocco in the semi-finals before proceeding to the final. Now, let's beam our torchlight into the Algerian team, because the Algerian team actually had some, 1 or 2, fast breaks there and there, but it was a very hard fit for them to, take over the midfield, because once a particular team has taken over the midfield, it's always hard for the opponent to take over the midfield. So Algeria could not play the normal game or the normal midfield play or the normal, control game they usually play. It was so hard for them. But they had to dwell on fast breaks. They had to dwell on counter-attacks that were always never effective. Because on every counter, there was always an interception. All the counter-attacks were intercepted. All the fast breaks were actually broken. No effect. In fact, Algeria barely had 1 goal on target or 1 shot on target. This is because the Nigeria team has been very cohesive with a very nice transition play that made it very hard for Algeria to keep up with it. Now, I'm going to call out the Algerian coach, Vladimir Pekovic. Pekovic, for me, had some delay. You already read the game as a coach. You should have a game plan, a blueprint. You've read the game at the first half. You saw that your team cannot keep up with the Nigerian pace. You don't need to wait. This is a do or die affair. You lose, you've been knocked out. So you need to strategize and make a very fast change in the beginning of that second half. But wow, Pekovic waited till 61 minutes before making a change. He waited till 61 minutes, because for me, I would have made a change even immediately after the first half, so that while I'm making that change, the new add-ons will actually help to effect the tactics I have already, instilled in them. But he waited to the 60th minute. And for the fact that he's making a change and he's removing Riyad Mahrez, who happened to be the best player and the team captain in that particular team, it speaks volumes. It shows that Riyad Mahrez was pocketed. He was nowhere close to making an impact in that game. So he was taken out and benched. No, so Adil was brought in, Aris was brought in, and Baghdad was also brought in. So these 3 players came in. They were actually counting on Adil to come and perform the magic he performed when they played Congo DR, because he was the one that scored that late minute goal. 2 minutes into the penalty, he scored and actually gave Algeria that victory over Congo DR. But I'm sorry, he didn't get that kind of leeway to actually make any impact in this Nigerian game, because the Nigerian tactics, the Nigerian transitional play is not a kind of game that you can actually fit in. They found it so hard. It was very hard for them to fit in. They could only, just manage 1, 2, or 3 long balls, or 1, 2, or 3 counter attacks, which were not really effective. They were not really effective. And it got at them that they even started having, some altercations, and even trying to fight, when they were blown against. For example, at the left flank, where Moses Simon was, going on 1 or 2 runs, and he was brought down, immediately there was an altercation that they had to start pushing each other, and it caused some little chaos. When you're already losing, if you don't get your act together, you might actually, commit 1 or 2 offenses. So, that is the Algerian side for you. It felt like a nightmare. It felt like a dream. But trust me, it's reality. Because I also have some Algerian friends that actually messaged me saying, we are going down today. Nigeria is leaving the AFCON for good, for the big teams or the key teams to take over. And they insisted they were going to win the AFCON. But, I didn't say much. I always said action will speak louder. And fine, action has spoken. For me, there were some late calls, late substitution that actually took place, which I personally wouldn't have, taken so much time to make those substitutions. Also, I'd like to touch base on the defense line of the Algerians. They kept saying that Algeria has the best defense because they had only conceded 1 goal. But you forget that when you play against a highly attacking team and you don't concede, yes, then you can actually come up with your bragging rights. Lucas Zidane, who happened to be the keeper and actually the son of the legendary Zidane, who was already being, blown out of proportion, that yes, he's the best keeper in the tournament, he's going to emerge the best keeper in the tournament, only conceded 1 goal. He wasn't even the one that conceded the goal, so they were actually using that as a hype, because it was the other keeper that conceded the goal, or when they considered that 1 goal. But here we are, this is Lucas Zidane. For me, he was the one that actually caused the loss of the first goal scored by Osimhen, because Osimhen nodded the ball down, and at the moment the ball was hitting the ground where he stood, he was jumping up, giving a leeway for the ball to just go in. So he didn't read the game well. So I'm going to blame it on Lucas Zidane, not anybody, not even the defenders, because the defenders, yeah, they were fine. They were onlooking, they had their mouth wide agape, but Osimhen was high in the air. I expected Lucas Zidane to be calm, read the game, get the nod first, get the direction of the ball before making a move. But he made a move before getting the nod, and that was how Osimhen netted the first goal. So overall, Algeria didn't play to the level they were expected, because a lot of North American sides were actually rooting for Algeria. But well, it didn't happen. It didn't happen that way. And now Nigeria seems like a big threat. Nigeria has sent a very big statement, even to the host team, telling them that you might be the host team, but you might not be the one to touch that cup. So with this, I can actually say the Nigerian Super Eagles are ready for the next game. They just need to get their acts right, put themselves together, and make sure that this same prowess, this same endurance, this same tenacity is replicated in that match, and we'll see ourselves victorious, moving to the next level. Thank you guys. If you really got some insight in this review, kindly remember to subscribe, like, and share. And trust me, we are going to see you on the next one. Bye-bye.